Hey Butler fans, welcome back to The Bark. I'm Emma Chamley.
And I'm Ethan Malafa.
Up on the show today, we have an MLB update and lots of Butler sports.
But first, we're going to take a look into the UFC Fight Night in Seattle.
UFC Fight Night was held last Saturday night at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. It was the first time in over 12 years that the UFC was back in Seattle, and it did not disappoint. The card started off hot, with 7 straight wins by finish. An interesting early fight was the Aslan vs. Cutelaba fight. It was a battle between 2 strikers who can clearly fight on the ground as well. Aslan won by submission in the first round, but it was a very high-level fight to watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these guys run it back at a later date. Another exciting prelim fight was Ricky Simon, who got the knockout win early on in the first round against the heavily favored Basharat, showing that he can fight with the best. Song Yadong fought against the experienced Henry Cejudo in the main event, but the fight had to be stopped early due to an eye poke from Song. The main event ending by KO would have been awesome, but it was a card that we didn't expect to be great and was. Tune into UFC 313 on March 8th for an unbelievable card headlined by Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Thanks, Colin. With spring training just starting, up next we have a look into the top teams for the MLB 2025 season.
Some of the top Major League teams going into the 2025 season have been hot over the past couple of years and are going to remain so going forward. The top team to look out for and reigning champs are the Los Angeles Dodgers. And on top of that, they had a great offseason by holding on to pitcher Clayton Kershaw and infielder Kiki Hernandez. The pitching staff had an overall 3.90 ERA last season and are looking forward to build off that come opening day. Shohei Ohtani remains one of the best players in the game and is a legend in the making. Another team that's ready to roll into the season hot is the Philadelphia Phillies. Bryce Harper still shows why he gets paid the big bucks and will continue to be a leader on this club once again. The Phillies also added a much-needed southpaw threat on the mound in Jesus Luzardo, as he will add depth to the Phillies' rotation. Expectations are high once again for this team, and it's only a matter of time to see if they live up to them. The last team to watch out for going into the 2025 season is the New York Yankees. The team is fresh off the rule change of not requiring a clean-shaven face anymore. Maybe this will help them get over the playoff hump. Although the team lost Juan Soto, they gained one of the top arms in Max Fried, along with other roster additions to help them get through October. The historic franchise will have high expectations all season long. Should be an exciting MLB season. Going into college, Butler season is already underway with a lot more to come.
With the spring months approaching, baseball season is in full swing. Butler kicked off their season down in Stephenville, Texas to take on the Tarleton State Riders on Valentine's Day weekend. The Dogs lost their first 3 games of the series but bounced back in Game 4, winning 9-7. This past weekend, they traveled to Goldsboro, North Carolina to challenge the Norfolk State Spartans. This 3-game series started on a more positive note, with the Dogs winning the first 2 games of the series 16-7 and 10-0. The third game of the series was unfortunately canceled due to inclement weather, sending the Dogs back home. With the new season comes a new roster for Butler. Many key returners and some exciting new ones will make a huge difference this season. Returning to the outfield for the Dogs is Jack Marachnik, who has had an exceptional start to his season, earning Big East Honor Roll opening weekend and registering 5 home runs, 8 RBIs, 4 doubles, and a batting average of .481 on the year. A new transfer from the Air Force Academy, Jack Bello, is looking to have a breakout year. He throws a 90-mile-an-hour fastball as a left-handed pitcher and so far has a season batting average of .481. 2 young freshman standouts, Logan Kroc and Harry Carr, offer a young spark for the Dogs, and they are showing some true potential starting in the infield on both trips. I had the privilege of speaking with junior outfielder Keegan Connors on the expectation he has for this team this season.
So we're just looking to be top 4 in the Big East, make a trip to Presco Park to compete in the tournament. But we're just looking to carry on what the offense has been doing. We're currently number 1 in every hitting category in the Big East. We're second in the Big East right now with, I think Xavier's the only team ahead of us right now. But just looking to continue improving on what we've been doing, pitching from week 1 to week 2, limiting runs. I mean, if we can keep teams to under 7 or under 5 would be even better. We're going to win a lot of games this year with the offense doing what it's doing.
The Dogs currently stand at 3-3 on the season and have a busy stretch to come as they will play 4 road games in just 5 days. Make sure to tune in on the ACC network to watch the Dogs take on the Louisville Cardinals on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Back to the studio.
Hopefully the Dogs can make it to Prasco Park this year.
On the women's side, Butler women's basketball made history this weekend after Hinkle Fieldhouse had its first women's sold-out basketball game ever against UConn. Here's more. History was made at Butler this weekend after legendary venue Hinkle Fieldhouse hosted a sellout crowd for a women's basketball game for the first time ever. The Bulldogs took on the powerhouse UConn, losing 86-47 to the Huskies. The game's popularity was due to star UConn player senior Paige Beckers, this year's projected top pick in the WNBA draft. Beckers dominated the court, scoring 23 points overall. Butler's leading scorer was senior Kylan McGuff with 13 points. But it was Beckers and UConn's stellar team of all-star athletes who brought attention to Hinkle, in a way that senior Olivia Wright was heartened to see.
I've been a fan of women's basketball for a really long time growing up. I've watched a lot of it, so going to the game and seeing the atmosphere that I grew up with be a big deal in Indianapolis is really cool, especially at the school that you go to where women's sports aren't shown as much as the men's, so it's really cool to be there and just have like the same atmosphere that the men's teams have for the women, so it's a really cool experience.
A big part of the recent buzz for women's basketball comes from the rise of stars like Caitlin Clark, who took the sports world by storm with her record-breaking career at Iowa. After Clark signed with the Indiana Fever, Indianapolis has embraced women's basketball. Her arrival has sparked what Indianapolis locals are calling the Caitlin Clark effect, meaning increased growth to downtown businesses. Clark is a frequent guest at Butler basketball games, something Wright has said has been incredible to see as a fan.
I've also spent a lot of time being a fan of Caitlin Clark when she played at Iowa, so it's really cool to have her come to Indianapolis and also bring awareness to women's sports in the WNBA field, but also to come support the Butler Athletics as well, just to like bring a little bit more attention to a school that's a little bit smaller and also the women's sports aspect as well.
Although Butler lost last weekend, Hinkle definitely experienced a win for women's basketball. From the Bark, I'm Emma Chamley. That's all the time we had today, but for more Butler sports, tune into the Bark next week or go to butler360sports.com. From the Bark, I'm Emma Chamley.
And I'm Ethan Malafa.